Okay, from the day one of the full-scale invasion, we saw the beautiful, actions from the National Bank of Ukraine. So they are really unite the market, and they are really, they are starting to lead in it. Because before the war, it was like regular classical regulator for in our minds, yeah. And now it's a leader for the market, and they helping us navigate uh, this times, because it's really hard without some North Star that you can follow with.
Anatoly, thank you so much for taking time to speak to me this morning. It's great to meet you. Before we start, can you just briefly tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Anatolyi. I'm head of marketing at the Monobank. It's the largest commercial bank in Ukraine, and it's the first neobank in Ukraine.
Monobank has been a pioneer in digital banking in Ukraine. Um, can you help me understand how has the war influenced the approach you've had to innovation, to providing new ways for customers to interact with financial services? Um, and has the current situation accelerated your innovation? Has it stalled it, or what's been the impact?
Well, it's kind of all at the same time. So the behavior of our customer has changed, so we have to change our focus a little bit because a lot of people were going abroad, so we need to make distribution of our cards so they can receive it at their new homes. Regarding the bigger picture, uh, we have a product for savings. It's called jar. So you spend money in a store, and some amount after this transactions go to the jar, so you can save for a bigger purpose. We released it in, I'd say, early 2021, and it was like for personal financing. And since war started, we saw that people using it for crowdfunding purposes. So we have a link, so you can share it with your friend, and your friend will top up your jar. And people started to post their links in social medias, and trying to accumulate some funds for their friends on the front line, for their helmets, for the vests, and all the stuff they need on the front line to defend our country. So it significantly changed our course, and we focused on that as a platform. We started to work with charity funds, with large amount of volunteers. So since we're a retail bank, we never worked with businesses on such scale. And from the bank perspective, the charity organization is another business. So you have to uh, understand how to onboard it fast and make the process smooth and make their experience the same quality as a retail bank experience. And it was really a challenge. We have onboarded over 1,500 charity funds. And since the war started, our platform helped people to crowdfund over 2 billion euros. Yeah, so it's very massive. It's like a headline of Ukrainian resistance in terms of crowdfunding.
Okay, that's really fascinating. So if I understand you correctly, so Monobank repurposed innovation in financial services to help directly support the front lines and the resistance efforts from the entire country.
Yeah, this is correct.
Wow. All right. Now, if we look a little bit at operations, you said that you had to make some operational tweaks as the war broke out. What were the main operational challenges that Monobank faced, and especially when it comes to continuity management?
Before the full-scale invasion started, we had the COVID. So it was a challenge time because we had to move from the physical presence in office to remote work. And we did it in one day. And since then, we're working remotely. So the war hasn't affected the operations itself, except maybe for the security measures for our physical databases and all the processing powers and etc. So we kind of have to uh, create a decentralized thing, so it will be less vulnerable.
Now, you mentioned that as a retail bank, the behavior of your customers changed, and I understand that basically how they use the jars is a clearly different direction of supporting the efforts of the war. Did you notice any additional behaviors in your customer base that required you to adapt quickly to the new demands that the customer base had?
Well, since our business model based on lending, we kind of have to look closer to this process because you don't know what to expect when such a thing as a full-scale invasion of your country is going on. And we were expecting the worst case scenario, but Ukrainian people uh, turned out that they're very good at returning their debts even in such circumstances. So we are very lucky here to have such a wonderful nation. And since we're serving now 9.5 million customers, it's we can tell in the scale of a country that we have such a beautiful nation.
And clearly, there must be a ton of lessons learned through these situations, especially when it comes to digital banking, to innovation. Um, how do you see this, whatever you've learned in the past 3 years, and specifically the speed in which you've adopted innovation? How do you see this will continue to change the financial landscape in Ukraine, and especially thinking in a post-war era, what kind of innovations do you think the Monobank will be able to bring to the market as a result of the lessons learned in the past 3 years?
So unfortunately, it's let's say too early to talk about and to dream about post-war era. But since we're here, we always look at our lending as and give an opportunity to people in Ukraine, especially now when people have um, they don't have stable income that was before, and it's really support for the individuals as well as the small businesses. And since full-scale invasion started, we also launched um, banking for a business, banking as a service for a business, and we're starting to do that. So we can help not only individuals but entrepreneurs and small businesses as well with our ecosystem, low fees, maybe lending as well. Um, so I think this is our course in terms of helping maintain the economics health. So when people are still can afford some things, so economic will grow eventually over the years.
Right. Okay. And then if we talk about the overall collaboration between the various players in the ecosystem, how would you say that this has helped Monobank maintain its operations over the past 3 years?
Okay, from the day one of the full-scale invasion, we saw the beautiful, actions from the National Bank of Ukraine. So they are really unite the market, and they are really, they were starting to lead in it. Because before the war, it was like regular classical regulator for in our minds, yeah. And now it's a leader for the market, and they helping us to navigate this times, because it's really hard without some North Star that you can follow with. Um, Yes, from the one hand. From the other hand, we have a beautiful digitalization processes in Ukraine that makes opening the bank account remotely with the DIA app and all the services that government now providing digitally. it makes a whole difference. So when we started Monobank 8 years ago, or 7 or 8 years ago, uh, we were the pioneer of such approach.
Do you think that there's some lessons to be learned by other ecosystems around the world from what Ukraine has developed in terms of collaboration through this difficult situation?
So I think it's so much more to be spoken because now we are not realizing what's going on. It have to some time. We need some time to get what we did, and it feels significant now, but we still internalize what is it about and how it happened and what we did, so we can share it with the world.
Right. So I'm sure there'll be case studies written in the years to come about how Ukraine came together to weather this very, very difficult situation.
I really hope so.
Yeah. Well, Anatoly, just I want to thank you so much for your time and for your candor and for sharing these insights with us. I think it's really remarkable what the Ukrainians have done, and specifically how the financial system has taken the lead in helping the country weather a very, very difficult situation, not just from a financial perspective, but also from a more humanitarian one. So yeah, it's been really, really interesting hearing you, and I appreciate very much you taking time to speak to us.
Thank you, Chris, for having me, and thank you for your interest in Ukraine in such challenging times.
It's been a pleasure.